1. The world 4.7 million years ago. A hostile environment around 4.7 million years ago. Earth's landscapes were wild, unpredictable, and often dangerous. This was the late Pliocene epoch, a time when climate patterns were shifting between warm and cool phases, creating diverse habitats from dense tropical jungles to open grasslands. Prehistoric human ancestors, likely species such as Australopithecus and Amensis, lived in East Africa, where forests met savannas. This edge environment gave them access to fruits, nuts, and roots in the forest, while also providing open ground for foraging. But this environment also meant constant threats. Large carnivores like saber-toothed cats, hyenas, and massive pythons roamed freely. Crocodiles waded near rivers, while venomous snakes lurked in the undergrowth. Disease-carrying insects and unpredictable weather added to the danger. These early humans had no modern weapons, no permanent shelters, and no advanced language, just their senses, instincts, and small social groups. Despite these challenges, their survival wasn't based solely on physical strength. They adapted through observation, cautious movement, and an ability to remember dangerous areas. They began to understand the behavior of predators, knowing when and where danger was likely. This mental adaptation, paired with the safety of group living, allowed them to slowly establish patterns that made life possible. In many ways, the environment shaped their survival skills. Then those skills laid the foundation for human intelligence. 2. Shelter and group living. The first lines of defense for prehistoric humans. Shelter was not just was a necessity for survival. Unlike modern humans, they didn't build houses or huts at first. Instead, they relied on natural shelters such as caves, hollowed trees, and rocky overhangs. These locations offered protection from both predators and harsh weather. Living near a water source was common, but this also meant being near dangerous animals like crocodiles, so careful site selection was crucial. Group living played a major role in their survival. Early humans formed small bands, often made up of family members. In these groups, individuals took on specific roles. Some foraged for food, others kept watch for predators, and mothers cared for the young. By staying together, they could detect threats sooner and respond collectively. Communication at this time was not complex speech, but rather gestures, facial expressions, and simple vocal sounds. A quick call could alert others of a snake nearby, or signal the presence of a leopard. Social bonds were strong because survival depended on cooperation. Even injured or sick members were often cared for, since each person's skills, whether gathering, tool-making, or keeping watch, were valuable to the group's survival over time. These small social units became the first human communities. They learned that safety was stronger in numbers and that sharing resources meant everyone could endure longer periods without food. This cooperative lifestyle was one of the first big evolutionary steps toward the modern human way of life. -3. Tools and early technology. Weapons of survival. Lot 4.7 million years ago. Tool use was in its earliest stages, but even the simplest objects could mean survival. Early humans began using sharp stones, sticks, and bones to help with foraging and defense. While they didn't yet create polished tools, they recognized that a broken stone's sharp edge could cut plant stems or scrape meat off bones. These tools also served as weapons. A sturdy stick could be used to fend off snakes or jab at predators from a safe distance. Throwing stones became a critical survival tactic, allowing humans to drive away dangerous animals without close combat. This ability to use the environment as a weapon was a turning point in human evolution. It shifted survival from purely physical strength to mental strategy. Fire, though not yet widely controlled at this early stage, would later become the most revolutionary tool. Once discovered, it offered warmth during cold nights, protection from predators, and the ability to cook food, making it safer and easier to digest. But even before fire, humans relied on knowledge of materials. They selected specific stones for sharpness and certain woods for durability. The creation and use of tools was more than just practicality. Was the first spark of human innovation. It showed that our ancestors could imagine solutions before the problem occurred. This creative foresight allowed them to survive in an environment filled with dangers, where any advantage could mean the difference between life and death. -4. Avoiding predators' instinct and strategies. Survival in the prehistoric world was largely about avoiding being eaten. Early humans faced predators from every angle: leopards that stalked silently from trees, venomous snakes hidden under leaves, and packs of wild dogs chasing across open plains. The key to survival was awareness and caution. Humans developed a keen sense of observation. They learned to read subtle signs: a broken twig, disturbed grass, or animal calls that warned of danger. Movement patterns were strategic. They traveled in daylight when snakes were less active and avoided dense foliage where ambushes were more likely. High ground and open areas were preferred because they allowed for a clear view of approaching threats. Group defense was also important. When a predator was spotted, humans made loud noises through objects and stood together to appear larger and more intimidating. They often relied on mimicking other animals' warning calls to create confusion and drive predators away. Snakes, in particular, were a constant danger. Prehistoric humans avoided tall grass and used long sticks to probe the ground ahead of them. They also learned the locations of predator dens and hunting grounds, staying far away from these danger zones.